book saying that the world is witnessing the fall of the U.S. empire. How so?
Nothing original about that. It witnessed the fall of the English Empire, or British, if you will, the French, and the Soviet Empire. I predicted the fall of the Soviet Empire in about 10 years' time, in 1980, and it fell on time. So in year 2000, I made a prediction of 2025 for the US empire, but then George W. Bush was elected president, and I saw him as an accelerator of the process. So he was, 2020.
So, but you say that the fall of the U.S. empire, if it were to happen, is actually going to make the United States itself, the republic, more efficient and stronger.
Precisely.
How is that?
It would be an enormous benefit. Just like Russia benefited from the fall of the Soviet Empire, England did for the same, France did the same, and the US will be. See, if you're swimming with an albatross around your neck, you don't swim well. And the albatross is the empire. The feeling that you have to be obligated to make, up to now, 243 military interventions around the world, which is a little bit much since Thomas Jefferson started, that you have to twist arms for political reasons, that you have to have bases everywhere. And of course it costs an enormous amount of money, in spite of the comfort that you think you have a divine mandate to kill. And that's perhaps the crux of the matter. The world doesn't believe that the US has that mandate. For that reason, the legitimacy is gone. The magic is gone. I think it started actually with the Korean War, where for the first time since 1812, the US did not win a war. And from that point on, it has gone down, down, down. Vietnam War, Iraq War, now the Afghanistan War. Let us just remember that the French finished their empire with the Algerian War, which they lost. The British with the Mau Mau uprising that killed only 30 people on the British side. The Britons killed tens of thousands. That was the end. And for the Soviet Union, it was Afghanistan. I saw a T-shirt the other day where it was written, "Welcome to Afghanistan, where empires go to die."
So, you know, given everything that you're saying, what can the United States do to perhaps ensure that there will, quote-unquote, be no fall of its empire? Is there anything that they can do at this point?
Absolutely, very concrete things. Pull back bases. They have more than 1,000 bases in about 170 countries. Pull them back like Britain did in 1965. Be better at conflict resolution. Don't find military, quote-unquote, solutions to everything.
Can you equate that with the situation in Iran that's going on right now?
Absolutely. There was an opening from Obama to admit that in 1953 the US had in fact overturned a legally elected prime minister. That was something. He could have added a little word of regret, that he could have, maybe a little apology, but I think it opened things. There are oceans of things to do along that kind of line. Now, politically, negotiation instead of arm twisting. Culturally, dialogue instead of assuming that we have the answers to everything.
Well, what happens when dialogue doesn't work? I mean, what happens when it's no longer an option? They've exhausted everything. What happens then?
You continue dialogue. You take dialogue with other partners. If you take Israel-Palestine, for instance, that's a good example. But I'm not quite sure we really have dialogue there. I think we have a lot of arm twisting, the way the Palestinians have been treated. To me, the solution to that one, since I founded this mediation organization, Transcend, is a Middle East community modeled after the European community. In 1958, it was 6 countries, Germany with neighboring countries, Israel with 5 neighboring countries. Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Palestine, Egypt. That could work, you see. And of course Palestine, according to internationally legitimate borders. That means essentially in 1967, Israel would have to give up expansionism and would gain security through peace. The only way they can do it.
Well, peace, I'm sure, is something that everyone wants. Sometimes not as realistic as we would like it to be. I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you indeed. As author and Professor Johan Gultang discussing a whole lot of issues here with me in Washington, D.C. But for now, Yulia, it's going to be back to you in Moscow.
Our correspondent Dina Gusovsky speaking to Johan Gultang. Thank you very much.